1 week left, ladies and gentlemen. We are 1 week away from the playoff extravaganza beginning. Welcome to WG Season 3, Episode 15. As we are now 1 week away from the NFL playoffs, we are your hosts, Adam.
Dante.
And Luke.
You can look at the records in the bottom left, center, and right. Luke has a pretty good lead this week. I can't do math, so Luke, I don't know how many games you need to win exactly this week to clinch your
To
regular season
clinch.
win. But
To clinch, well, the most remaining correct you guys can get is 16. That's if you go perfect. So I guess if I get 8, then I'm straight.
okay, gotcha. And then Dante and I guess we're fighting for second this week. So
I'm going for first.
hey, we'll see what
I
happens, man.
it's possible some of us have almost gotten perfect weeks, and we've all had a couple bad weeks, but let's
Look, if
just
I have a
let's just
sticker.
acknowledge we're all actually doing amazing this year.
Oh yeah, very
Like
much so.
We
I see
know.
all over Instagram all these expert picks with their records, like 140 and 110.
Hmm.
And that's like consistent across like 10 different people. We are killing it.
Yeah, we're doing great.
This
We're
has
the
been
real experts.
a generational year for WG.
Absolutely. But
So
this is routine stuff for us. But
Oh yeah, I mean, we expect better out of ourselves, honestly.
yeah, yeah, we're appreciative, but we're not surprised.
Yeah, right. Job's not finished.
Job's not finished. Let's
well,
go.
let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Starting off, bringing back the fantasy leaders. I hope you like the little logo I threw in there, because our
I
top.
don't.
I know you wouldn't, but the viewers might.
I have
Uh,
some appreciation of it.
because those two had quite the game last Saturday. But let's go through our top 10 this week. Number 10 with 30 points against the Dallas Cowboys, we had Eagles receiver Devontae Smith. At number 9 with 30.2 points, just barely edging out Devontae Smith, was Marvin Mims Jr., the wide receiver. What are you making that face, Luke? Wide
Like,
receiver of the Broncos over the Bengals. Number 8 with 30.28 points against the Detroit Lions in a Monday night loss. Niners quarterback Brock Purdy. It's about the only good player they have left this year. Number 7 with 30.3 points. We had Trey McBride, Cardinals tight end, in their game at the Rams. Finally found the end zone this year. So, number 6, we had Jaden Daniels with 31.78 on Sunday Night Football in their win over the Falcons. Number 5, shocking QB performance of the year, maybe, with 34.36 points, was, I believe, the number one rated QB last week, Drew Lock of the Giants in their win over the Colts. Craziness. But on to number 4, 34.56. I regret Baker Mayfield over the Panthers. Don't want to go into that game. That was just a disaster. But anyways, top 3, Malik Neighbors with 36.1. Again, Giants over the Colts. Number 2 and number 1, both from the same team, and they're both the guys on your screen. Joe Burrow with 36.98 and T. Higgins with 40.1, rounding out the top 10 this week. And that is appearance number 6 for Jaden Daniels, number 5 for Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield, and number 3 for T. Higgins, Malik Neighbors, and Brock Purdy. So,
future Patriot T. Higgins.
yeah, hopefully. And then previewing a little bit for next week, I'll have one final top 10 for the year, and then I'll go into the top scorers of the season. Maybe I'll probably do like top 5 for each position, and then maybe top 5 overall, something quick like that. So be on the lookout for that next week. And I hope my advice this year helped you win your fantasy championship, or these leaders did. So there we
Yeah.
have it.
Cool.
And then we are on to week 18, the final week of the season, as I have said about 50 times now, but we finally made it to the thick of it of the NFL season. The climax is finally hitting. It's going to get good. Anyways, here we
We're in
are.
the thick of it.
Yeah,
Everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
quoting KSI there.
I'm
We
in
have
Pittsburgh where it snows.
This game is
we,
massive.
is it as massive as Ninja's low taper fade though?
That day, that meme's still massive. I don't care.
I mean, imagine if Adam got a low taper fade.
Robbie, if you're watching this, maybe that's our idea for the
All
next
right, we
time.
got to keep this podcast about football, I guess.
WG brain rot.
Okay. As I was going to say, we have no Thursday game this week, but we have two Saturday games, and it is headlined fully by the AFC North. Starting at 4:30, we have okay, it looks like I wrote the record uh down wrong here because I have the Browns at 13-3. That is clearly not correct on my paper.
That
They
is
are
definitely not correct.
13. And the Ravens are 11-5. Baltimore wins the division with a win over Cleveland. So I guess we are kind of changing up how we announce these picks. We're going to go in an order from now on. I guess I'm first, then Dante, then Luke. So I'll start by saying I think this is a no-brainer. Baltimore is going to win this game and they're going to win the division. I don't really think nothing else needs to be said. The Browns suck. DTR sucks so bad that he got benched after 2 games, and they are now starting Bailey Zappi. So yeah, not much else needs to be said. I'll go Baltimore.
Yeah, sadly, I'll also go with the Ravens. However, here we go, Brownies, I guess. It pains me to say that. But I'm rooting for the Browns big time in this game. Because I need them to win if the Steelers are going to win the division. If the Steelers win the division this week, I'm going to be unbearable next week. I'm just going to say that. But I don't expect this to happen. The Ravens, I think, are clearly the best team in the AFC North, and they've been playing like it the past 3 weeks, and the Steelers have not. So, yeah, I think the Ravens are going to win pretty handedly here. So, yeah, I'll take Baltimore.
And Luke, before you go, I forgot to say this is my lock of the week.
That's fair. I'm going Baltimore as well, pretty easily. And the only note that I will add is if you would have told me last year that in week 18, Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi would both be starting, I, all I would be able to do is laugh. And right now, all I can do is laugh. But
And neither of
uh,
them are playing for the Patriots.
and neither of them are playing for the Patriots. Thank goodness.
Yeah,
But
right.
Baltimore here.
Fair enough. And then on to Saturday night, 8 o'clock at the Yak.
We're
I call
jumping right into this.
yes. Well, I know we go with an order, but we usually let the fan of the team start. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
okay, why don't you start this one off?
Yeah, week 18, Bengals coming to Pittsburgh to play in obviously their second matchup of the year. Um, Steelers won the first one by a score of, I believe, 44 to 37, I believe was the final score. Only game Steelers dropped more than 40 points in a game. But the Bengals defense was playing way worse than they are right now. Bengals played a pretty solid game against the Broncos last week. Are really, maybe a sleeper pick for game of the year because that was really a fun game to watch. I think Burrow, I mean, if they make the playoffs, or honestly, even if they don't make the playoffs, I think Burrow should be the MVP of the league. He is the best quarterback in football right now, I think. And I don't even think that's a hot take. He is week in and week out been unreal. And Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver in football currently. And I think you guys could agree with that to some extent. But yeah, the Bengals are absolutely balling right now. T. Higgins, whether he stays with the Bengals this year or goes elsewhere, he's going to get paid, and rightfully so. He is um, truly one of the better receivers in the league, let alone wide receiver twos. I mean, it's him and Devontae Smith are the two best wide receiver twos in the league, I think. But onto the Steelers, dropping three straight to the Ravens, well, the Eagles, Ravens, then Chiefs. Um, you know, people are acting like the sky is falling. I talked about this last week, and I'm not acting like the sky is falling. I still think the Steelers are still a pretty good team, but it is concerning for sure. But I think the Steelers were 1 or 2 plays away. Well, maybe minus that Chiefs game from having an opportunity to win. Um, yeah, I think crucial turnovers, in the red zone really hurt us. I think lack of execution in the red zone um, also hurt us. Yeah, I don't know. We were also extremely injured. You know, Joey Porter Jr. being out for the Chiefs game, George Pickens being out for the Eagles and Ravens game. Um, I think this mini bye week helped us out a little bit, or should help us out a little bit. And I think the Steelers are going to come out, you know, more focused, and they're going to look like how they have earlier in the year. Um, So for that, I'm going to take the Steelers in a close one at home.
Taking the Steelers. Okay. Um, well, Adam, takes care of a little distraction. I can go on about this too. Um, you brought up the last time they played Cincy. It was extremely impressive to me that it was such a shootout. The Steelers held their own. I've never been one to. I feel like it's probably etched in history now that I've never been one to be much of an optimist about my own teams, much less some other teams. I do lean more on the concerning side of the Steelers' outlook. You know, I think what we all think is that they're going to sneak into the playoffs and that they're going to beat the Houston Texans. Not sneak into the playoffs, excuse me, because they're clinched, but I think they're going to get in the playoffs and beat the Houston Texans. But I think it's going to be after losing this game.
Well, actually, sorry to correct you, but if we lose this game, we're not playing Houston. So,
Huh.
yeah.
Well, I that obviously won't change my pick for this game,
Okay.
but okay, well that's a different conversation. We'll have that conversation next week, I suppose. Um, I have the Bengals winning this game. It's just a tale of how the two teams are playing right now. It's not a tale of how good each team has been, because we saw that earlier in the year. It's a divisional game. The Bengals, I mean, I would not want to play Joe Burrow right now if I'm any other. 31 teams do not want to play Joe Burrow right now.
Totally. Yeah. I
He
don't.
he is doing exactly what his team needs every single time they need him.
Yeah.
He and Jamar Chase. And just having Jamar Chase is allowing T. Higgins to play how T. Higgins is playing. So we know that. We know their defense is playing a little bit better. I won't harp on the Steelers too much. I don't want to be the negative one too much, but I would just say that it's concerning to me. Um I know this is sort of a trend for Mike Tomlin teams, and okay, a few things are true. It is true that Mike Tomlin is a great coach. It is true that his teams tend to end seasons poorly. It is also true that the Steelers have been through an absolute gauntlet of an insane last third of the season stretch. You probably don't win any of those games, but if you want to be a team that's on that level, if you believed you're a team who's going to be a contender to win one or even two, who knows, three playoff games, you want to put up a much better fight than you've been putting up against those teams, especially the Chiefs game. It gave me no hope for this game personally because the Steelers offense, if it looked better, the Steelers offense, I would have, this would have been more of a toss up to me, but it didn't look great, and they had absolutely no answers against Patrick Mahomes. And right now, the only person playing better than Patrick Mahomes played on that Christmas game is Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense. So I'm going with my gut here and taking the Bengals.
Okay, so sorry about that, guys. Millie was barking at a truck, so I decided to come down here so that wouldn't happen and interfere us again, but she's fine. Dante, did you pick the Steelers or the Bengals?
I picked the Steelers.
Okay. And Luke, you went with the Bengals, is that
I
correct?
did.
Okay. Yeah, Dante, sorry, but I'm gonna be siding with Luke here. Um,
That's cool. Yeah.
I am a little worried about the Steelers, but I also do think that they just, like we've said, three very tough opponents in a 11-10 day stretch. That's not very easy. And now they basically get that amount of time to prepare for this game. So I think they're going to come out looking a little better. But then again, the Bengals are on a heater right now. They're playing for their playoff lives. And I think that is enough incentive for me to believe that they can come in and get a much needed win for themselves. I'm not sure how that will affect the Steelers. I guess, like you said, they might not play Houston in that case. I guess we'll see what happens with the other games. But I guess I did forget to point out, I'm not sure whether one of you already said it, but the Bengals need a lot to happen this week to even make the playoffs. They need to win this game, and then they need Miami to lose and Denver to lose, which we will talk about those games here in a little bit. But I do think they are going to position themselves to have a chance and get a win here on Saturday. So
I,
that is what I am thinking for this one.
I'm just saying, I know this is for next week, but if the Bengals do get into the playoffs, they could be dangerous.
Well,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
They could be. I'm not going to get into it right now, but they could be a really good team.
Yeah,
And
they're that scrappy team that nobody should want to play. I think I was watching a video last night. I think it was Wyatt's World who described this. Shout out Wyatt's World if you guys know who that is. That basically said they're one of those teams where they know they don't have defense, so they're just like, screw it, we'll just score more points than you will. And that's the type of team you just don't want to go up against.
Hmm.
So,
This is true.
yeah. Anyways, on to Sunday, the 1 o'clock slate. We've got 8 games to cover, and the first one here is the 4-12 Panthers, officially the last game of Carolina Panthers season. They're going to Atlanta to face the Dirty Birds, the 8-8 Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta needs a win here, and they need a Tampa Bay loss to clinch the division. And I'm going to keep this short and sweet. There is a known narrative that every season, Carolina and Atlanta split their games. I think you know where I'm going with this because Atlanta won, and I think it was week 6. And there's been another narrative that Bryce Young's nickname is the Carolina Reaper, and he has ruined the season or jobs for some coaches and some teams. And I think Bryce has one more target before the season ends. This is my upset of the week. I'm taking the Panthers over the Falcons on the road to beat Atlanta and finish the season strong at 5-12. Will it happen? I'm not certain, but I think it could. And that is enough belief for me to go with my team one last time this year. So give me Carolina.
Yeah, that's valid. But I'm going to go with Atlanta here, mainly because I really like how Michael Penix is playing. He played pretty well against the Commanders last week. Had a last second, or maybe not last second, but pretty close to last second touchdown pass to Kyle Pitts to tie the game, which was just unreal. Like that was electric stuff. I think he's playing better than Kirk has at all this year, which is pretty. I mean, probably not that hard to do. Still love Kirk Cousins, and I hope he succeeds elsewhere. But I like Michael Penix, and I like how he's playing. But Bryce Young is also not playing too shabby right now. I mean, I think last week he got kind of just have to throw that out the window against the Bucks because they are a pretty good team. Baker is just playing some of his best ball that he's ever had. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Atlanta here. They're fighting for more, I think, but it'd be pretty sick to see Carolina be the spoiler. And I'm sure Adam, as much as you hate the Falcons, I'm sure you would love a win here. But I'm gonna go with the safe pick and go with Atlanta.
I'm going with Atlanta as well. I was really impressed how Michael Penix was able to play up to competition last week. Washington is a great football team. They're a great coach team. They have great defense. In his second career start and his first real start, let's be honest, his first start was against the Giants. In his second career start, he showed you exactly what you would want to see from him. And I like the idea of they always split Adam, and I think it's possible. But I also kind of see this as a game that might not end great for Carolina. And I'm not going to say it's going to go into the offseason on a sour note or anything because I think that Carolina has shown a lot to look forward to, but they're not there yet, and the Falcons are going to have to scratch and claw for every single ounce of playoff hope they have left. They have to take care of business and then wait themselves. I think they're going to take it very seriously. I think that the playmakers are going to come out. Bijan's going to have a big game. Drake London's going to have a big game. They're going to have a good defensive game. I can see a couple turnovers, unfortunately. I feel pretty confident picking Atlanta here.
That's fair. I knew you guys would pick Atlanta, so I understand that.
We're doubting. We might be wrong, but
Go Panthers, though. That's all I'll say.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
appreciate it. Go Steelers as well, even though we picked against them, obviously.
Hey, it's all
Um,
good.
but on
So
to what,
I
Luke?
was gonna say I could have brought this up for Baltimore, but now we get into the conversation. Teams like the Texans, are they sitting? Are they resting? Do we know?
I don't. I
I
don't.
have no idea.
In this case, and certainly in the Ravens case, I don't think it's gonna change my pick, but it's just something to keep in mind.
Well, the Ravens are still playing for the division, so
I guess that's true. Yeah. But and here we could say the Texans are still playing the Titans.
that's
I have heard nothing, but from what I understand, the Texans are locked into number 4 in the AFC.
That's
Uh,
what I'm saying. Yeah.
regardless if CJ Stroud starts or Davis Mills or whoever their quarterback 2 is, it's not going to change my pick. I'm going to go Houston.
so I have a quote from. Sorry to interrupt you, Adam.
Oh, you're good.
I have a quote from D'Amico Ryans when asked how much the starters will play. He goes, "We'll see how the game goes." So really giving us nothing there, but I don't think that
Well,
changed.
what I take from that is that they'll play if they have to, meaning they want to win this game.
Yeah,
And so they're either going to win and the starters won't have to play much, or I think the starters are going to have to play. And not to jump out of line, but I think that means they'll win anyways. I'm
yeah.
assuming we all agree here anyways.
Is this just a 1-2-3 situation?
I
Yeah.
think it is.
Cool. Yeah, Houston, Houston, Houston. Sick.
Houston, Houston, Houston.
Ready to move on?
Yeah. One final note, you don't need to go back, but one final note I will make about that game is I did read both Will Levis and Mason Rudolph will get some playing time. So
Nice. Oh yeah.
interesting. But anyways, on to another type of game where this could be a quick pick for everybody. We've got the Eagles hosting the Giants. It has been revealed that the Eagles will rest their starters as they are locked into the number 2 seed in the NFC, meaning Eric Dickerson's rushing record lasts another season at least. Saquon Barkley will not be able to break it, which is unfortunate, but I also understand because I did see a clip last year that AJ Brown went down and got hurt in a meaningless game and ended up missing, I believe, their wild card game that they lost. Not that it would have mattered if he played, but I guess that's kind of a reminder that, okay, don't play the starters unless you absolutely need to the last week. So, with that being said, it's not going to change my pick. Last week, I doubted the Eagles, saying that, oh, without Jalen Hurts, they were definitely vulnerable because the Cowboys were on a bit of a hot streak. Last week, I did end up seeing what the combination of Kenny Pickett and Tanner McKee could do with that offense, and I'm not going to be fooled again. I'm taking the Eagles over the Giants pretty comfortably.
Yeah, Eagles for sure, I think.
I mean, we all agree I'm taking the Eagles, but I wouldn't really put money on this one.
Yeah, I agree.
It's gonna be kind of feisty. We'll see what version of Drew Lock shows up. I'll put it that way.
I think the Eagles bench players are objectively better than the Giants starters. And I don't think that's a hot take.
Yeah.
In some positions, I think you're right,
Yeah,
but I also think that I'm picking the Eagles. But players like Tyrone Tracy are going to be playing not to get replaced next year.
that's true.
Players like Wan'Dale Robinson are going to be playing for, I don't know if he's due a contract or something. He's going to want a spot in the league. So I think Drew Lock and Brian Dable are going to be playing are going to be out there for their jobs. We'll just see. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think the Giants should fire their coach and GM based on how much they botched last offseason, but that's just my opinion. But anyways, next 1 o'clock game we have here. I guess I forgot to say every single game is a divisional game this week because it's week 18. But this is one of our rare games that have absolutely no playoff implications whatsoever. Both teams are eliminated. We have the Jaguars and the Colts in Indianapolis. I have no idea who the QB is going to be for Indianapolis. But honestly, you guys may consider this a bit of a surprise, but I'm going to go with the Jaguars in this game. The Colts right now are just a mess. Last week was horrible, of course, with the loss in New York. You've got all the Pat McAfee stuff going on right now. A bunch of players speaking out about how dysfunctional their locker room is. Nothing's going right in Indianapolis, and I think that might honestly carry over this week. There's a bit too much chaos going on, and I think Jacksonville takes advantage of that because Doug Peterson is coaching for his job, and I think he might try and get one more win to at least try and convince the Jaguars front office that he's worth keeping. So I guess it's not my upset of the week. I guess I would consider Carolina over Atlanta more of an upset because Jacksonville's 4-12 and Indy's 7-9. So yeah, I'll take the Jaguars, but not my upset of the week.
I'll agree with you, Adam. I'll also go with the Jags.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how Doug Peterson still has a job, and I'm not sure how we're having conversations of him trying to play for games to convince the ownership to keep him. But they've been playing okay, and you had the right word for Indy, Adam, dysfunctional. So I don't really feel inspired to go either which way for this one. I'm going to pick Jacksonville.
Guys, did we just clean sweep with the Jaguars in week 18? I
Hey,
guess.
With
yeah,
the Mac Jones Jaguars, no less.
hey, it's all good. I mean, it can't be worse than whenever we clean sweep the Raiders because that just goes poorly every time. But
I feel like they
Yeah,
won that game though.
Yeah, we
Uh,
broke the streak. We're like the
Yeah.
Undertaker, bro. We broke the
Yeah,
streak
right. Oh man. Yeah. Somehow. Yep. So clean sweep with the Mac Jones led, Doug Peterson led Jaguars in week 18.
Write that down. Write that down.
hey, Brian Thomas go crazy, I guess.
Brian Thomas says go crazy. Yeah. Wish he'd be a Steeler right now, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Well, Roman Wilson's back, apparently.
Yeah.
Cue the
We did
LeBron kid.
mention that. He's back, apparently.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But
As far as
anyway,
all right. Moving on, we've got the Commanders and the Cowboys. Last time this game went down, believe it or not, Dallas won, and that was in Washington. But I don't
crazy
really,
game. I
I don't
remember that.
really think it's going to go that way this time. There are a little bit of implications in this one. The Commanders are playing for the number 6 seed in the NFC. If they win that, they officially clinch it. If not, they'd need a Green Bay loss to the Bears, which is the next game we will predict. So I guess I don't really need to explain the implications in that one now. But I'll take the Commanders. I think this is a pretty easy situation for them. I think they'll win and they'll lock up their 6 seed, which would mean the Washington Commanders would go 12-5 this year. That is what that would mean. But yeah, give me the Commanders in this one.
Yeah, I agree. Jane Daniels is a beast, and he proved it once again against the Falcons last week. Um, but yeah, Cowboys just absolutely got demolished by the Kenny Pickett and Tanner McKee led Eagles, which was just unreal. And Jane Daniels, if you could hear me, I need you to ball out. Fantasy championship this week. Really need you. So yeah, if I win a lot of money. If I lose, I win $50. So really
Hey,
trying
you
Something,
can't
yeah.
complain, but how much do you win if you win the league?
like
If
three
you want to disclose
like
that.
350.
Okay, so you
So there's
want
a
to
difference.
obviously.
And so what's funny is sorry to go on a tangent, but um in this fantasy championship, it stretches over week 17 and 15. I mean week 17 and 18. What am I talking about? And
Yeah.
I have a 10 I have a 140 to 104 lead right now,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't have um Saquon playing, but which sucks. So right now I have Rashad White and James, no, not even James Cook, DeAndre Swift. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah,
Yeah, you might need that 30-point cushion.
yeah, I
I'm in a fantasy championship in week 18 with my uncle in our little 4-man league, but I'm down about 100 points, so I'm not looking too good right now, but I guess I've seen crazier happen, but assuming how this is going, if you're listening, Uncle John, I'll congratulate you early on your championship because I'm assuming I'm not coming back from this one, but we'll see, I guess. Um, anyways, sorry we've gone on a bit of a tangent, Luke. I guess it is your turn to make your pick for this one.
Uh, Washington's fine with me.
Cool. Easy enough. Speaking of easy enough, are we all in agreement with this one? Do we really need to go into anything?
go pack go baby.
Green Bay?
Yes.
Easy enough. All right. So I guess if both those scenarios work out, the Commanders would be the number 6 seed going to either Tampa or LA, and Green Bay would be the number 7, setting up a rematch from our week 1 Brazil game with the Packers and Eagles in the first round. So, all right. Moving on, we've got the Bucks and the Saints. Simple enough. Tampa wins this. They are the NFC South champions, and the Falcons are out of the playoffs, which I am praying happens. I am thankful that I could cheer for my team this week, and I don't need to put a little cheer into Atlanta that um, they beat us because if Tampa wins, our game doesn't matter. So, and I think this will happen. I think Tampa knows what they're playing for. Baker in a must-win game, you can't really count that out. Mike Evans, I believe, is like 80 yards away from 1,000 once again.
85, I believe.
85, that's right. So, yeah, expect a big game from Mike Evans this week, or at least a big first half. And yeah, I think they knock off both those division champs, and Mike Evans gets 1K once again. So, calling it right now. Give me the Bucks.
Yeah, give me the Bucks here too. I like the Bucks right now. They're a really fun team to watch. Um, yeah, not much more to say. I hope Baker balls out yet again, and I don't like Spencer Rattler, so I hope he loses.
Pretty easy to say, let's go Bucks when you live in Pittsburgh, right?
All right, baby, let's go.
And it's pretty rare to say, "Let's go Bucks." I hope they win and make it to the playoffs. Um,
Right.
but in this case, I agree. I think they do. Pretty easy to cheer for. I hope Mike Evans gets to 1K. That's all.
All right, final 1 o'clock game, and Luke, I'll let you have the floor.
Uh, this is the most odd game of the week. We have in the Bills a team who doesn't care if they lose, and in the Patriots
You
a
don't want
team who look.
to.
I'm not a tanker, but I can see what's right in front of my eyes. I have no problem with losing this game. In fact, I've even seen a growing movement on Twitter that if we lose this game, the whole fan base will decide to be kind to Gerard Mayo for a week. We'll get off his back. Um, but I won't speak too extensively about that. I think I'll have the whole offseason to do so. Give me the Bills.
All right, I guess I'm in line to go next. Yeah, it is a bit of a weird one because the Bills are going to be resting a lot of people. I did see Josh Allen is going to be playing just a tiny bit. I believe Schefter or Rappaport described it as he would make a cameo appearance. So pretty quick, maybe like one play or so, or one drive, not one play. But I guess you're going to be seeing a lot of Mitch Trubisky. And after some news this morning that he got a 1 year extension, maybe a little bit of Mike White in this one for the Bills. But regardless, Luke, no offense to the Patriots, but I think the Bills backups could handle this one. I think it may be a bit of a close game, maybe like a 10 or 7 point win for the Bills, but I think Buffalo's going to win this, and I think it'll work out in your case because the Pats would end up with the number one pick. So I'll take
One
Buffalo.
thing I will cut you off. One thing I forgot to mention is Drake May, despite having concussion symptoms last game and playing through them, he's playing, and he's in line to start. That was a little unsure for a couple days, but it's confirmed. The other interesting variable is I didn't really even know that he was hurt because I just hadn't had reason to think about him. But Bazooka Joe Milton has been activated for this game,
So good.
so I would kind of enjoy seeing him make an appearance or two if we get blown out, or God forbid, if Drake May is too rattled to stay in there the whole game.
Cool. Yeah,
I
I'll go.
certainly would rather see him come in than Jacoby Brissett if it came to that. With all due respect to Jacoby Brissett, but I don't expect him to be on the team next year. And, we haven't seen Joe Milton once. So if it comes down to that, I'd enjoy seeing him in the game.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
I'll go with the Bills too.
yeah.
So,
Easy enough. And then we are on to the last four
Speaking of which,
o'clock slate of the season. These games are all at 425. We've got five of them, starting off with the Chargers and the Raiders. I guess the Chargers do have something to play for because if they win, they improve their seeding. I guess depending on how the Steelers and Bengals game goes. Unless are the Steelers are the 5 seed right now, correct?
yeah, and if we win, we lock up the 5. But if we lose, we get the 6. So we can't go lower than the 6.
Okay, well that's good then. You won't be 7 and you won't be playing Buffalo. Not that Baltimore is much easier, but
I'd
but
rather play
Baltimore,
Buffalo.
you'd rather be playing Buffalo?
Yeah. No, I'd rather be playing Baltimore.
Oh, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
yeah, I agree
I
with that.
misheard you. I'd rather be playing Baltimore too in your situation. If nothing else, we know that those Baltimore Pittsburgh matchups can get really weird really fast, and either team can win them in certain examples at least. So, um, anyways,
Anywho, do we really need to waste much time on this one? Because
No, I don't think so.
no, I just forget. Have the Chargers clinched?
yes,
We clinched the playoff spot, yeah.
Good for
but
them.
are the Raiders eliminated?
That is the question.
I'll have to check.
And more importantly, if they are they allowed to fire their coach after 1 year?
Daryl, what do you think?
Uh,
Some inside jokes, but yes, the Raiders are eliminated. Yes, they very well might fire Antonio Pierce, and yes, we are all, I'm assuming, going to pick them to lose this game big.
yeah.
I'm hoping because I just wrote down the Chargers for everybody. So
Although I will say, if you're the Chargers, I would literally play your third string running back. Do with how much J.K. Dobbins loves to get hurt, and I love him, and he's had a fantastic year. Don't risk a single thing.
Yeah.
You haven't made the playoffs in a long time. You're you're catching some heat. You're catching fire at the end of the season here. Um, I would not love to see you, especially if I was the Texans. Don't play with fire. Win this game as we all expect, but that's just my 2 cents.
When's the last time they made the playoffs?
I don't. Um.
Chargers, 2022 season.
Oh, seriously? Okay, fine. Okay, well
They,
then I was wrong in saying they haven't made it in a while,
Is
but
that when they lost
feels
to?
like it.
Was that Trevor Lawrence comeback? Was that a playoff game?
oh,
Yep.
that's right. It was
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
up like 27-0 at halftime.
with the 4 interceptions from Trevor Lawrence in the first half. My narratives were going crazy that day, and that was an up and down day for me as still an avid Mac Jones supporter.
Oh man. Anyway,
Yeah,
Anyways,
good
Chargers are-
times.
let's move on.
all right. Next up, we got the 6-10 Niners and the 7-9 Cardinals. This is a bit of a messy one for me because I don't really know what to go with here. I mean, I guess I'll go with the Niners because they almost beat the Lions somehow on Monday night.
You know what they
And
did? Yeah.
they they showed me that they can, hang with a team like the Lions. You should be able to beat Arizona. I mean, the Cardinals have looked much worse the last few weeks than they did a few weeks before that. So I guess I'll take San Francisco on the road to end the year, finish 7-10. Why not?
Yeah, I'll take them too. However, I hope Trey McBride gets in the end zone.
Um, ugh. I don't even want to pick a team, but I guess just because of what we saw last week, I am also going to ride with the 49ers. As much as I like the Cardinals, there are some question marks on that team after all.
Yeah, true.
All right, now here is the real interesting one of the 4 o'clock slate. We've got the 15-1 Chiefs, who have officially clinched the number one seed in the AFC. You will not see any of Patrick Mahomes, any of Travis Kelce, or any of the big names in this one for Kansas City. It will be Carson Wentz and the second stringers going up against the Denver Broncos, who, with a win, they clinched their first playoff appearance since 2015, the year they beat my Panthers in Super Bowl 50. It has been that long. The Broncos have had this many chances the last few weeks. I believe like 3 games in a row. It's been winning in for them now. Can they finally do it here in week 18 and just by the skin of their teeth sneak in to be number 7 in the AFC and go to Buffalo? Um, I think they can. I'm going to pick against the Chiefs here. Listen, I love Carson Wentz just as much as the next person. He had a solid week 18 game for the Rams last year. I think he'll be fine this week. But, I mean, if you're Denver, you got to win this game because how embarrassing would it be to lose 3 straight games where all you needed to do was win to get into the playoffs? I think this week they finally, excuse my French, get their shit together and beat the Chiefs and get into the playoffs. So I'll take Denver. Although, if they lose, that opens the door for Miami or, God forbid, the Bengals. But we'll see. I think Denver's just going to make it easy this week and win and get in and eliminate all other possibility. So,
Yeah, I'll take the Broncos by 10 plus. I think they're gonna really play well this game.
valid. Valid.
They played the Bengals really well, and the Bengals are way better than their record says. But yeah, I like the Broncos.
So I just realized something. I would like to personally apologize to the entire NFL world as a Patriots fan for beating the Bengals in week 1 because this all could have been avoided. And now the Bengals are relying on Carson Wentz and 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers to make it into the playoffs, and it is not going to happen. Give me the Broncos here. I agree with you guys. As much as I would like to see the Bengals have a chance to stun Buffalo, I don't see a path. I know we're just kind of relating that here, even though we're talking about this game. Look, I don't think Carson Wentz is anything more than what he seems to be on paper, a bad, washed-up quarterback. And the Chiefs have historically not really put a lot of importance into Week 18s when they haven't had to. They don't mind going 15-2 instead of 16-1. And Sean Payton, obviously, is going to be coaching his, excuse my French, ass off. So give me the Broncos. I know. Yeah, I know this potty mouth on the show this year.
So are you going with Denver too, Luke? Sorry, I was kind
Yeah.
of okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Three more games left to predict here. We've got the Seahawks and the Rams. This is an interesting one because the Rams are kind of playing a bit of a mixture of the playoff implication scale. They kind of need to win this game to lock up number three, but they're starting Jimmy Garoppolo. So,
I didn't even know he had a job.
yeah, he's their QB too. I,
Oh,
I was reminded of that the other day when I saw he was starting. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's on this team. Okay.
wow. I seriously did not know he was even in the NFL.
I
Yep.
think
Yeah, he is the Rams backup quarterback, and he will be starting against Seattle this week. So this is an interesting one. But you know what? I'm gonna go with Seattle. I think for some reason the Rams are just, I guess, okay with losing this game because Jimmy G's in at quarterback, and he's not Carson Wentz. Listen, I love Jimmy G, but I think he's proven since he's been off the Niners that he is nothing more than a game manager, and that could come back to bite me if he has a good game. But I mean, I think the Rams are just content with being number three or number four, which I wouldn't be. I just want to say that because this is the difference of playing the Commanders or Packers at home versus the Lions or Vikings. If they lose this game and Tampa wins, they get the loser of the Sunday night game in the first round. I wouldn't want to do that.
oh no.
So, yeah, I think they're costing themselves a little bit with that decision. But I guess it makes sense. I guess Stafford's a little injury prone now, and they want to keep him healthy for the playoffs. So, yeah, but I'm gonna go Seattle to finish out the year with double-digit wins, even though they are eliminated. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, I think Geno Smith has one more good game in him this year, whether the Seahawks replace him or not this offseason. So I'll take the Seahawks. Why not?
Yeah, I'll go with the Seahawks too here.
So yes. Geno Smith might be playing for his job. I like Geno. He's a good quarterback, but I think that's also a reasonable thing for Seattle to think about. And so I think he knows the importance of this game. And who knows if guys like DK have contract bonuses they're playing for. Either way, give me the Seahawks.
Cool. Our last 4:25 p.m. game of the regular season is the 8-8 Miami Dolphins against the 4-12 New York Jets. We've got Tyler Huntley making his second straight start for Miami, and it is a bit of an important game because if the Dolphin or not the Dolphins, I'm talking about the Dolphins, if the Broncos lose to the Chiefs, that will open the door for Miami to win and get into the playoffs. They need a win over the Jets and a Broncos loss to the Chiefs, and they would be the team going to face Buffalo in the first round. I do think Miami's going to win this game, but like we already covered, we all predicted Denver to win, so I don't think it will end up mattering toward the playoffs. But I do think Miami wins to finish their season 9-8. It's the Jets they're facing. They can beat New York. I get the whole cold game thing. They're playing in the cold on the road, but this is Tyler Huntley starting, not Tua. I think they can get away with a win in this one. So
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'll go with Miami too here. I don't think being in the cold matters too much whenever you're playing the Jets. So I'll go.
right,
I think it does because Aaron Rodgers played in the cold for like 19 years, and Mike McDaniel is the deciding factor, not Tua, even though they both stink in the cold. I'm going to go out on a limb, partially because I don't really want to bother seeing Miami get blown up, get torn to shreds in the playoffs. Give me the Jets. I've done this a few times this year, and it has literally not paid off a single time. But if nothing else, for very selfish and arrogant reason, I'm comfortable with my record for picking games this year. I can go out on a limb one more time, and I'll even make this my upset of the week. If Aaron Rodgers is going to retire, he's going to do it in the most bizarre way possible. Either that, or he's going to give some stupid GM some thread of hope to cling on to when he signs another on when he signs another contract somehow in the offseason. So, this is such a Jets game to win. This is such a Dolphins game to lose. But at least I have the consolation of knowing that if the Miami Dolphins somehow win, Our two alternatives are they miss the playoffs and Denver gets in, which I wouldn't mind, or they make the playoffs and I get to watch them get obliterated on national TV in the cold again. And then
Hmm.
maybe, as some consolation for my friends who are Dolphins fans, maybe then finally some conversations can open up about that overrated soft coach they've had who has never been worth what the media says. He's never been the offensive guru. And maybe they move on from Tyreek Hill. Maybe they have some discussions about some roster realignment. I think a losing this game or losing in the playoffs, either are good options for the Dolphins moving forward. But you're probably right. The Dolphins will probably win, but I will just throw this at the wall and see if it sticks. Give me the Jets in an upset.
Hey, we'll see. But here we go. All right, I like this, Dante. We have got the big time showdown here. It is, as they say in boxing matches and UFC matches, the main event of the evening. In the left corner, we've got the 14 and 2 Detroit Lions that are the home team in this one, I guess. Um,
Oh, are they?
yeah, that's fine though. No,
Okay.
I like how you set this up still. Um, they're the home team in this one. They will be wearing their black jerseys apparently. I guess their social media team revealed that in a way. And they do have the power on their side in this one with a win or a tie. Well, I guess no, I guess that works out the same way. Well, if they tie, Detroit gets the number one seed. But on the right corner, we've got the 14 and 2 Vikings, who with a win, they get the one seed in the NFC North title. This is the difference of having a first round bye and home games throughout the NFC playoffs and maybe the entire playoffs if their luck shakes out, or having the 5 seed, no bye, you go on the road in the wild card and you're maybe on the road for the rest of the playoffs. Big time implications here. And I will start, and this is going to sound weird because I'm pretty confident with this one, but these are the types of games Dan Campbell does not lose. I'm going to pick the Lions in this one. I think it'll be close. May come down to the leg of Jake Bates. Maybe a field goal wins it, but I think Detroit's going to win this, get their one seed, get their bye, which they need more than anybody because of how banged up they are. They don't want to go on the road in the wild card round and possibly face an upset. Leave that to Sam Darnold and the Vikings because I believe they could beat the 4 seed, whoever it is, anyways. But yeah, I think Detroit's going to win this. I think they're going to get the one seed, and the NFC playoffs officially go through Ford Field.
Yeah. Um, I think the one factor that comes down to my decision in this game is Detroit being home. That's that's it. Like these teams are very even right now, I think. I would say Detroit's probably the better team. Um, but man, playing at home in a game like this is huge. It's going to be playoff atmosphere. It's going to be playoff energy. And I'm going to go with Detroit to beat the Vikings. But if the Vikings win, that would be insane because the Lions have been looked at as like the best team in the NFL all year. And if they end up a wild card team, dude, oh my God, that would be actually unreal. And then the Bucks are playing a home game, which would be just super weird. But um, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to go with the
Bucks, who don't forget beat the Lions.
whoa. Anyway,
Cinema.
that's yeah, that's crazy. But
You're going Detroit, Dante?
I am going Detroit. Yes, do it, Luke.
I'm not.
Let's
I'm
go.
going Minnesota.
Why?
Hey,
Minnesota.
Minnesota, Minnesota.
Minnesota. Because of the health. I hate to do it.
No, that's fair.
But Detroit is banged up. And Adam, you say this is the kind of game that Dan Campbell won't lose. I think this is the kind of game that he himself will lose with some gutsy decision. And I know they have the team to do that. And I'm part of the camp every single time he does that and screws up that I roll my eyes at the people on Twitter saying he's an idiot. Because you do that, and that's fine. And when it pays off, it really pays off. But I'm like many other people. I don't ask me why it took 14 wins to finally get here, but I'm fully bought in on Minnesota. I'm fully bought in on them as a serious Super Bowl champion contender, not as a team who we just didn't expect to be this good and will win a game or two. They can win it all. Both these teams can. I can't, for the life of me, remember a regular season game that felt this important or this anticipated. Maybe since some of those Patriots Steelers games back when Tom Brady was our quarterback. I don't know. You'd probably have to go back that far, for me at least. Wow. I mean, I just can't wait. I think that you're right about Dante. You're right about the view this whole season being the Lions are the team to knock off, and that is completely fair. They have probably averaged. There have been some stretches where they've been averaging 40 points a game. I'm willing to bet they've averaged over like 27 points a game this entire season. Jared Goff has had some fantastic performances. He had like that 19 for 19 game. They haven't really missed David Montgomery. Kirby Joseph is playing on a defensive player of the year level. I don't think they're going to be able to pressure the quarterback at all without Aiden Hutchinson. All due respect to Roquan Smith, he's not the same. Which also means I think that Aaron Jones will have a day. Obviously, Justin Jefferson is going to have a day. It's going to come down to Sam Darnold, guys, and I think he's going to deliver because I think that it will be a shootout, but it's not going to be 40 to 30. Brian Flores just isn't going to let that happen. And very similar to the Bills, which I've probably mentioned this, the Lions have been winning in their health crisis. They have been winning, but they've been allowing points. And this is just too close to rely on that. It's too close for comfort. I am picking the Minnesota Vikings to be the one seed in the NFC North, in the NFC, and to win the NFC North. Crazy as it is.
I love that. I hope you're right, honestly.
Definitely could happen.
Yeah.
Someone had to. I'm excited about it. I feel how I feel before Super Bowls. Man, I cannot wait. I
Yeah.
really do. I'm clearing my schedule. I have two internship interviews next morning. I don't mind. I'm watching this whole thing.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
And then lastly, before we wrap up,
Oh yeah, this is also
yeah,
sort of
real
important too,
quickly,
huh? Yeah.
because I don't know if we'll record again before these games happen. So I wanted to get it out of the way. After the semifinal, no, last round was the quarterfinals, right?
Yeah.
All four teams with a bye went down. We had Boise State lose to Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl on New Year's Eve. We all threw a bit of a fiesta watching that one. That was fantastic. Then we had the absolute banger of a game Texas Arizona State was, or the banger of a game it became, but Texas held on. Then I'm proud to say I called the Ohio State upset over Oregon. Y'all called me crazy, but I did. God did.
God.
And lastly, Notre Dame yesterday took down Georgia to make it just the perfect quarterfinal slate for me, minus Texas winning. A true chef's kiss. Pretty much everything I wanted to happen besides Texas winning happened. So I'm proud of this Final Four that we have. And we're starting off with the Orange Bowl in Miami on January 9th at 7:30 p.m. Penn State hosting Notre Dame. This one's going to be interesting.
Well, quote unquote hosting. Anyways, yeah.
I guess I'm in order to start again, and I'll say Penn State's going to the national championship. Something I didn't think I'd say at
Hmm.
the beginning of the
You say
year.
that one more time? It
Penn
just sounds nice.
Penn State's going to the national championship. I'll say it. Um, and James Franklin is going to be coaching for a college football title, and Drew Aller is going to be playing for a title. I do think this will be Penn State's toughest test of the year. Notre Dame is no cakewalk compared to what they've had so far. It's going to be a tough game, but I think this is where prime Drew Aller is really going to show out. This is where he's really going to showcase why he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And this is where Penn State's going to showcase why they're one of the best teams and that they can beat good teams. James Franklin's going to show up and beat a good team. So I'll take Penn State. Nice.
Ah,
Nice.
I'll I'll see you in Atlanta. Yeah, Drew Aller is a god. Tyler Warren is a god. Um, Abdul Carter, hopefully he plays, is a beast. Um, and what's one thing Notre Dame does really well? Run the ball. And what's one thing Penn State does better than any team in the nation? Stops the run. Um,
Yep.
yeah, I believe Notre Dame had 90 yards passing last night. I'll leave it at that. Um, Give me Penn State to go in the national championship. And I can't believe I'm saying that. Oh my God. Anyway,
I think
just
I know why Luke's camera is off and what he's doing, so I'll just let him wait. I'll just say I have an Abdul Carter jersey. Imagine me wearing it right now.
oh yeah.
Not, but
Oh yeah.
I think I know what Luke's doing here. There he is.
Let's
Give me Penn State, man.
let's go.
Unbelievable. Give me James Franklin to coach for the national championship. I can't I couldn't have even I would never have thought. I've been bought in the past. We lost to Ohio State. I was out. I said, and I quote, I'm never getting my hopes up again. I'm so bought in. I
Let's go.
look, I every my entire life I've had every reason to think, well, James Franklin's just gonna lose the next big game. And maybe those teams we faced just were that not on our level. Fine.
Yeah.
Georgia and Notre Dame, neither of them looked particularly good last night.
No.
I mean, especially not Georgia, but Notre Dame, the way they picked up some crucial first downs, one with the Marcus Freeman coaching circles around Kirby Smart. I don't think that's going to happen against us. And two, with the quarterback draw, we're gonna contain that.
Yeah.
We're gonna contain that.
Yes.
I think Abdul Carter is playing, and we had two 1,000-yard rushers. We don't have the wide receivers that most teams do. With all due respect, we had 1,000-yard rushers. We stop the run and we run, and they have the pass rush to get through to most teams. But Drew Aller has improved so much in
So much.
keeping plays alive with his legs. Now, I would really like to see him get the ball out faster. That's going to mean more of this guy, more of Tyler Warren, but that's never been a problem. It's always been a solution. We have the defense to play any team in the world. I mean, we'll get into how on fire Ohio State is, but we're talking about what we're talking about right now, and we're talking about the Nittany Lions. Give me the Nittany Lions over Notre Dame.
We are, baby. Let's go.
We are.
I am rooting for Penn State in this game, but now that we are on to the Cotton Bowl Classic, I don't want to bring down the mood, but
Oh.
you guys brought out your prop. It's time for me to bring out mine. The Buckeyes,
Ooh.
as they say, Daddy's coming home. Hey, and
Did
I
I say that?
think I am because the Peter Zach Bowl is happening in the national championship. I think it
Dude,
is.
it actually might, which is like
Yeah.
unreal. Like,
Look,
I mean,
Penn
look,
State, Ohio State in the Natty, dude. It's on. I mean, like it's in effect. It really might happen.
when Luke and I got CFB 25 this year to start it out and to get some experience, we played Ohio State, Penn State in the Natty as a joke.
Yeah.
To
it was
try
a
it out.
joke. Yeah. Well, who won that game, Adam?
Okay, we're not talking about that.
Oh,
But
oh.
okay, listen though, listen. Ohio State, what they did against Oregon believes makes me believe they can beat anybody.
Oregon doesn't have a Tyler Warren.
Yeah, but Oregon had a Dylan Gabriel and a lot of other good players.
Dylan Gabriel was
Oh,
hot.
Penn State.
Oh.
Okay, well,
We'll let
listen,
you finish, man. But
Will Howard is playing out of his mind. Jeremiah Smith looks like the best receiver in the country right now, and he's only a
Facts.
freshman. Let me remind you. Um, if Ohio State Penn State happens, we'll get to the banter when it does. But for now,
we will.
talking about Texas here, and let me get this straight: this will not be a home game for Ohio State. This game's being played in Arlington. The Texas crowd is going to show out like crazy.
What?
Yeah, this is the Cotton Bowl in AT&T Stadium.
Alex. Yeah.
So the Texas crowd is really going to show out in this one. But Ohio State's had to go on the road and get the job done a few times in the past. I'm not afraid of Ryan Day coaching in this game. I mean, he only lost the Cotton Bowl last year, but we were without a bunch of people. So this year we got everybody. And I think I think after the beat down, the duck hunting that was successful, the 20-point win over the Oregon Ducks, I think we can beat Texas. I'm gonna say 33-25, something like that. But give me the Buckeyes. The championship we want is gonna happen, I think. It's not too good to be true.
It's
So
not. I mean, I I really don't know who I want to win this game. I'd be if Penn State beats Notre Dame, I'd be more confident going up against Texas. Like I
Dante,
feel like pick us against Texas.
Dante,
Oh
listen,
yeah.
you could say you want Texas to win this game. It's fine. I understand.
I do want Texas to win this game, but I also like might want Ohio State to win just because if Penn State wins, a Penn State Ohio State natty would be unreal.
That's true.
That'd be the perfect time for us to break the streak. I'm just saying. But
It would be, but
um I'm going Ohio State. I think they're going to beat Texas.
Yeah, I mean, I'm easily going Ohio State. Let's be clear
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
I mean, right now they look like they could beat the Raiders, but I, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That
I
that
just
just
got, I just
that
that
just registered with you, Dante.
just registered. That's
Yeah.
so funny. It might be the Browns, dude.
Yeah,
Maybe
honestly,
in
yeah,
Ohio. No,
I'm ready for those conversations. But what's important is that they certainly look like they can beat Texas. So, but man, I would feel much more confident against Texas. I will say that much.
oh, man. Hey, oh, dude. If I just want Penn State to get there. If I could see one of my football teams, because I know Luke, you've seen it more recently than I have. Adam, you've seen it more recently than I have. Our favorite football teams being in the big game. I haven't seen that
Mhm.
in so long, dude. Like I
Yeah.
was, I was what 5 or 6 the last time my favorite football team made it to like the championship game. It's been a real long time. So if Penn State makes it, oh my God, I'll be unbearable. But
hey, I'll say these two things to close out the college talk. The first ever college football playoff 4-team bracket was won by Ohio State, and now the first ever 12-team bracket could be. Just saying. But
Adam, Adam, let us have this one, bro.
no,
Yeah.
okay, we'll get there when we get there. But I just want to say one more thing. Imagine how funny it would be if they're like, James Franklin, congrats, you've done all this big game winning. Now, all you have to do to win the national championship
Beat
is
Ohio
beat
State.
Ohio State.
It's only right. I mean, that's the
It
one.
is.
That's the one.
Listen, in that scenario, I'm okay with it at the same time because I literally can't lose. If Ohio State wins, I'll be happy. If Penn State wins, be a tiny bit bummed for Ohio State, but I'll be happy at the same time because Penn State would be national championships champions. I literally cannot lose. So,
Well, it is to get back to what you were saying. It is perfectly fitting. It's poetic. Um, and I don't know if he has it in him, but James Franklin beating Ohio State, that is. But even if we won it all, it would still kind of feel like, dang. Next year I still wouldn't want to play Ohio State.
Yeah, yeah. But
But
right now, it's 1-0. Got to beat Notre Dame.
want to know, want to know.
I have one more thing I want to say before we finish, and this is not even about Penn State. I kind of lied. The player, or the people who decided the seeding knew what they were doing because you may not know this. Ohio State's first opponent in 2025 is Texas.
Whoa, what?
This is a preview for next year's week 1 matchup. Yeah. So we're getting our taste of Texas a little bit early before we've got to face Arch Manning in week 1 next year, assuming he's finally going to start there.
Where is that game?
Um, I think Columbus. I think it's one of those home and homes where we host a game and then the next year they host a game.
Interesting.
So, all right. I think that about does it though.
Yeah,
Week. This is going to be straight cinema for football. We're getting into the thick of it, as I said, the fun times. College football playoff is coming to an end soon, but then you got the NFL playoffs to carry the rest of the way.
It
yeah,
really is like those Dr. Pepper commercials. It's playoff you ever playoff you worry.
yeah, yeah. It really is. Yeah, I'm so
Yeah,
stoked. Yeah,
playoff you worry.
But
Yeah.
hey, we'll see you next week where we'll jump into our first NFL playoff predictions of the year.
yeah.
Here we go. Go Steelers, go Panthers, go Pats, go Ohio
We
State,
are.
Penn State.
Penn State, baby. Let's go.
All right. We are your hosts. Adam.
Dante.
And Luke.
We'll see you next week.